Have you ever wondered about the history of the naked gun? If comedy were a sport, the naked gun would be the Olympics of absurdity. From its quick-fire sight gags to the unflappable poker face of Leslie Nielsen, the franchise carved its name into pop culture as one of the funniest and silliest series of films ever made. But the naked gun didn't just appear out of thin air like a banana peel on a police precinct floor. Its origins sketch back to a short-lived television show, a group of comedy revolutionaires, and a filmmaking philosophy that insisted no joke was too stupid if it made people laugh. This is the story of how a failed TV series became one of the most beloved comedy film trilogies of all time. Welcome to History Wonder. What topics in history have you wondered about? Comment below and let us know what videos you would like to see. To understand the naked gun, you have to understand the minds behind it. The comedic trio known as ZAZ, David Zucker, Jim Abrahams, and Jerry Zucker. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, ZAZ turned the world of parody on its head with their hit 1980 disaster movie spoof, Airplane. Their formula was deceptively simple but devastatingly effective. Deadpan delivery from actors playing everything straight, rapid-fire visual gags layered into every frame, absurdist logic that bent reality but kept the actors oblivious. Airplane was a smash hit, but ZAZ had another idea brewing, something that would take their brand of humor into the realm of police procedurals. Long before Frank Drebin was bumbling his way through movie theaters, he was a TV cop in Police Squad, a short-lived ABC comedy that debuted in 1982. The show was a direct parody of old-school police dramas like Dragnet, M Squad, and Felony Squad. It featured Leslie Nielsen as Detective Frank Drebin, stoic, fearless, and completely oblivious to the chaos around him. Every episode opened with a booming announcer and an exaggerated freeze frame. Except the actors never actually froze, creating awkward, hilarious moments. Critics loved Police Squad, but ABC didn't. The network canceled it after just 6 episodes. Why? An infamous explanation that the show required viewers to pay attention, which at the time was apparently a deal breaker for mainstream television. I mean, whatever. The Police Squad was gone. ZAZ knew Drebin's story wasn't over. They just needed the right format to bring him back. Fast forward to the late 1980s. The success of other ZAZ films like Ruthless People proved audiences still loved their brand of humor. Paramount Pictures gave them the green light to resurrect Police Squad, this time as a feature-length film. Released in 1988, The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad was everything fans of the original show could have hoped for and more. It brought back Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin with George Kennedy and O.J. Simpson, pre-1990s infamy, reprising their TV roles. The plot? Drebin tries to stop an assassination attempt on Queen Elizabeth during her visit to Los Angeles. The details didn't really matter though. The real joy was in the barrage of jokes, puns, slapstick, and visual chaos. Before Airplane and The Naked Gun, Leslie Nielsen was primarily known as a dramatic actor. His gravitas, deep voice, and steely expressions made him perfect for serious roles in films like Forbidden Planet in 1956 and Poseidon Adventure in 1972. ZAZ realized Nielsen's deadpan delivery was comedy gold. In The Naked Gun, he could say the most ridiculous lines, "Nice beaver," with complete sincerity, making them infinitely funnier. Nielsen embraced his late career reinvention, becoming one of cinema's most beloved comedic actors. Part of the genius of The Naked Gun was its sheer density of humor. You could watch the films 10 times and still find new jokes hidden in the background. For example, signs that read absurd things like, "Everywhere you look, something is happening." Running gags like Drebin's inability to park a car without destroying public property. Scenes where the dialogue contradicts what you see on the screen, creating double layers of humor. The filmmakers didn't care about realism, they cared about laughs. If that meant cramming a baseball game with absurd mascots, turning a romantic montage into a grocery cart disaster, or letting Drebin deliver an emotional speech with a raw fish in his pocket, so be it. The first film was a box office hit, grossing over $78 million on a modest budget. Naturally, a sequel was inevitable. In 1991, The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear, hit theaters. This time, Drebin was trying to foil an evil plot by energy companies to sabotage clean energy initiatives. The movie leaned even harder into visual absurdity, from exploding buildings to slapstick dinner disasters. Critics were generally positive and audiences loved it. The film pulled in over $86 million worldwide, proving the formula was still fresh. By the time the third film rolled around in 1994, the cultural landscape had shifted. Parody films were still popular, but the ZAZ team faced the challenge of keeping things fresh. The Naked Gun 33½, The Final Insult, followed Drebin as he went undercover in prison to stop a terrorist plot targeting the Academy Awards. While it wasn't as critically acclaimed as the first two, it still delivered the goods, particularly a spectacular, chaotic Oscars climax that remains one of the series' high points. It was also the film where Anna Nicole Smith played a major role, adding a campy twist to the absurdity. The movie earned about $51 million, lower than its predecessors, but still profitable. The brilliance of the Naked Gun trilogy lies in its commitment to the bit. No matter how absurd things got, the characters treated every situation with total seriousness. The contrast between sincerity and ridiculous is the beating heart of ZAZ comedy. The humor also worked because it appealed to a broad audience. It mixed slapstick, perfect for kids, with wordplay and cultural satire, which was perfect for adults. And unlike many parodies that rely heavily on dated pop culture references, the Naked Gun's humor often felt timeless, rooted in human folly rather than the news cycle. After the Naked Gun series ended, the parody genre experienced highs and lows. The ZAZ team had huge hits with Hot Shots and Basketball, but the 2000s brought a wave of lower quality spoofs, epic movie, disaster movie, that lacked the wit and precision of the predecessors. Yet, the Naked Gun trilogy remained untarnished, a shining example of parody done right. Over the years, there's been talk of reviving the Naked Gun. In the 2010s, Paramount announced a reboot starring Ed Helms as Drebin's son, but the idea fizzled. More recently, in 2022, reports surfaced that Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane and Akiva Schaffer have been developing a reboot starring Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin's son. Released in 2025, Liam Neeson's foray into the slapstick with the Naked Gun reboot is a surprisingly clever and charming pivot from his usual intensity, as he steps into the role of Frank Drebin Jr. with a delightful deadpan sincerity that honors the absurd spirit of the originals while carving its own comedic path. Critics have praised the restrained yet effective humor, crediting the film's ability to pay homage without drowning in nostalgic callbacks. While early reactions note that the reboot wisely avoids piling on the relentless gags, it still delivers enough chaotic moments and visual absurdity to feel familiar to fans. Even decades later, the original Naked Gun remains a comedy touchstone. Because of influence, inspired countless parodies and comedic styles from Austin Powers to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It has quotable lines, "Nothing to see here," and "Like a midget at a urinal, I was going to have to stay on my toes," still circulate in pop culture. And because of recognition, in 2014, the American Film Institute ranked The Naked Gun among the top 100 funniest American films. Leslie Nielsen, who passed away in 2010, left behind a comedic legacy that transcended the Naked Gun. But for many, Frank Drebin will always be his defining role, the lovable idiot who somehow always saved the day. Modern comedies often lean on improvisation or crude humor, but the Naked Gun shows the lasting power of meticulous, layered jokes. Every scene was planned like a visual puzzle, with gags hiding in the margins for attentive viewers to discover. That craft is why the films remain endlessly watchable. The movies also serve as a reminder that comedy doesn't have to punch down. It can just be joyfully silly. Whether Drebin is dismantling a podium mid-speech, wrestling with a giant condom, or accidentally driving into a fireworks factory, the humor comes from pure chaos, not cruelty. At its heart, The Naked Gun is about a man hopelessly out of his depth who somehow always comes out on top. Frank Drebin is a hero not because he's competent, but because he never stops trying. That persistence, combined with ZAZ's relentless commitment to parody, made The Naked Gun more than just a trilogy of films. It became a masterclass in how to make people laugh without limits. And in Drebin's own words, truth hurts. Maybe not as much as jumping on a bicycle with a missing C, but it hurts. Thanks for watching.